Hi Fiona, thanks
Hi.
very much for agreeing to come and speak with me today. As you mentioned on the phone last week, we talked about if you'd be happy to come and share a bit about your experience of being a relative of your mother-in-law who's in a care home. What's your mother-in-law's name?
Margaret.
Margaret. No, so Margaret. And when did she come into the home?
About 11 months ago.
Okay. And have you ever had a chat with somebody before about your experience, or is this the...
No, this really is the first time.
Okay. Well, as we discussed on the phone, we just probably have about 10-15 minutes to talk through this, but we can easily follow up at another time, some more conversations around this. So given that, I've prepared some different points on cards here about that might really just touch your relationship experience and you might like choose to talk about. So we can go through them, and maybe if you could just pick one or two today. But if there's certainly others you'd like to talk about, we can do them another time.
That's fine.
But maybe if I could just share what these are, and then you can always maybe add some more if there's something else you want to talk about. So we've got down here visiting my mother-in-law, being involved in decisions, talking to staff, getting information, care of my mother-in-law, and the future. And say maybe just a couple of these we could focus on today. Anything that stands out for you as an always, I've definitely got something I'd like to talk about in relation to that. Remember, we're looking for things that have worked really well for you, and things that maybe we could learn from and notch up a bit. So both these things we're interested in.
I mean, this is one that I'm finding quite difficult at the moment.
Okay, so visiting my mother-in-law.
Yeah, and perhaps this one, care of my mother-in-law.
Okay.
And one that's not there might be just a sort of quick thing about the environment of the home as well.
So if I just put down the environment.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, that's great. So we'll take these, not to say that we can't talk about them in the future, we'll put them to the side. And so we've got three things that we can focus on. Which one would you like to talk about first? The visiting, the care of Margaret, or the environment?
I think probably this one to begin with, yeah.
The environment. Okay, so we'll put these aside just now. So we're just going to go through this, and I do want to learn about your experience, and as I say, we have got a little bit of a time restriction on it today, so we'll just go through each in turn. But you'll see here on the left hand side there's some very positive emotional words, and on this side some negative emotional words. And I'm really interested on the environment and what you feel about that. So if you had to select some words from either side, both sides, whichever you want, that sum up what the environment feels like for you, which words would you pick?
I mean, if I was thinking about a particular incident, I'd probably choose uncomfortable, awkward, on this side I'd probably say I was heard and satisfied. Okay.
That's great. So maybe just focus on the negative words you've picked. The first word you picked was uncomfortable. What is it about the environment that makes you feel uncomfortable?
Well, just in relation to when I visit Margaret, she's always sitting in the sitting room with the other residents who are obviously all there as well. And there are just no seats for me to sit down beside Margaret and have a conversation. And even if I just try and crouch down beside her, everybody's listening to our conversation. And so often we would just say, let's go round to her room. But even there, to begin with, there was only one chair. And so she would sit in the chair and I would sit on the bed, and it just felt a bit uncomfy sometimes.
And awkward as well, would you say?
Well, awkward in relation to when I was in the sitting room, people were listening to us, and I felt awkward in her bedroom because we weren't just sitting together. It was just a bit weird, really.
No, I understand that, and the sitting rooms are quite small as well,
tiny.
aren't they? So, in terms of even space to put other chairs in, I guess it's quite difficult.
No, I mean, it probably isn't going to work to do that.
Yes. So thinking about our room then, and having a space there to talk that would be better, What?
Well, what I said eventually to the care home manager was, I just asked her if there was any possibility of us getting another chair in her bedroom, so that when she did have a visitor, whether it was me or anybody else, that there would be a place for us both to sit. And that happened, very quickly after I'd mentioned it. So
good. So that seems to have been worked out. Is that why you're saying you felt heard?
I did feel heard, and as I say, they acted very, very quickly. So by the next time I went in to visit, it was sorted. And the same day I spoke about the chair, I also mentioned the fact that Margaret's mirror in her bathroom was like too high for her. She couldn't see herself in the mirror, and I asked if that could be moved so that when she looked in the bathroom mirror she could see herself, and they did that as well. So it was great.
So the kind of little things in the environment that they actually seem to make a big difference for you and for Margaret. So, but I'm really pleased that you felt able to talk to the staff about these things, because I guess maybe it's impossible to get everything right for everybody all the time, but the fact you've been able to ask them. And I suppose I'm interested, what is it that they do that's helped you feel happy to approach them?
I suppose one of the things that they did was that they contact me by telephone to tell me if there's anything that's not quite right. And the day I spoke about that was when they'd actually phoned me to tell me that she'd had a fall. And so while I was on the phone talking about that, we were able just to discuss other things. They asked if there's anything else, and so I was able to say, well, actually, there's a couple of wee things that would
really felt okay to do that.
Yeah, it did.
And maybe the way that they've responded so promptly, it might encourage you to say other things in the future.
Probably would.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. So it's important, I suppose, that we get that feedback, because I think it'd be quite hard to say some things.
And sometimes I have to go in at the weekend and they're not there. So sometimes the management staff are not there, so that can be tricky. So it's easier by phone sometimes.
Okay, so phone is the best way of communicating. Okay, again, that's interesting to know. You happy to move on to the next one?
Definitely.
Okay, so just put these first back. So, do you want to do visiting Margaret or care of Margaret?
I'll do care. Care. My mother-in-law.
Okay. So again, words that you would use to sum up what you feel about the care for Margaret.
Okay. Generally satisfied and safe. And maybe a little bit frustrated.
Again, if there's words that are not there that you would like, we can always make them up. Use just kind of sample words, but maybe they're fine.
And maybe a little bit sad as well.
Okay. Okay, so is that all you want to choose just now?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, thinking on maybe the negative words that you've picked frustrated. So why do you feel frustrated, the care of Margaret?
She was a woman, or she is a woman, who's still very proud of her looks, and I suppose after she'd been in a few weeks, some of that, her good looks, like her hair and her general kind of appearance, just wasn't the way that she would normally have done it. So for example, she had whiskers coming out of her chin, and her hair hadn't been done the way that she would normally have done it, and she just didn't look the way that she would normally have looked. And so that was a bit frustrating.
Are you frustrated with the staff?
Well, a little bit, because I suppose I felt that they weren't really attending to that and trying to do something about it. Obviously, I didn't know at that point whether they were trying or not, but all I could see was that her hair wasn't done and that she had whiskers growing out, and she would never, Margaret would never have let me see her like that. She would always have her hair done, and she would have attended to her own whiskers. So yeah, I was a little bit frustrated.
And have you been able to say something to them about that?
Yeah, again, I did just say that I'd noticed that she had whiskers and, wondered if somebody could help her with that. And that's when it all came out that she's always got a story for, or she forgot to do it this morning, or she'll do it later on. And so I was able to say that that's sometimes what she said to me too, when I commented on it on the occasions that it hadn't been done before she came into the home. So there was a little bit of sharing from that perspective.
It's quite nice to hear staff's perspective on that.
Yeah, because I think it let me know that it wasn't that they weren't trying.
Okay.
They were trying, and were just finding it very difficult when she was coming up with a reason for why she hadn't done it.
And And did you have things when she was at home? What sort of things did you do to help her to agree to kind of have these
Yeah,
things?
because she can be quite tricky sometimes. So I would generally use humour
Mm-hmm.
and say things like, "What would W think if he saw you like this? He might put you in the circus as the bearded lady." And I would cajole her and say, "Come on, it's only going to take 2 minutes. Just let me help you with this." And generally she would allow me to do that. And so it was good to be able to tell the staff that that's how I managed it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
so that's important for them to know. And if things got better in relation to that now.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No, it's
and
much better.
When you come in, I mean, are you able to do these sorts, or would you like to do these sorts of things for Margaret?
I certainly would, if it hadn't been done, and there was one occasion when she absolutely had not let the staff do it, and I was able to help her with that. I mean, she gave me all the stories again, but we managed to persuade her. So I don't mind, helping them with things like that.
And again, I think if staff know that, then maybe that would help them when it is more difficult.
Yeah.
Does that kind of cover the negative words, Fiona, or?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the sadness is there just because I know that if Margaret was, in full faculty, she would never have let herself, get to that stage, and so there's a bit of a sadness about it, but that's...
And I'm wondering how staff could get to know these things, so obviously these things are really important to Margaret and to yourself, and I'm just wondering, have you had conversations with staff about what is important to both of you?
Probably not to the same extent, I mean, I've raised things as and when I felt it was appropriate to do so, but it would be nice to sit down and have a conversation with us both to maybe think about how she was in the past and what kind of things really do matter to her. Yeah, that would be important.
Okay, so again, that's something I suppose to think about in relation to how that happens, and speak back to the staff about that.
Yeah.
You've mentioned about feeling safe and satisfied as well in terms of care for Margaret. So why did you pick these words?
I mean, generally because just the knowledge that she is safe in the home and she can't get out without somebody helping her to do that, and the fact that she's not going to do things that she might have done in her own home, like set fire to the place, because that's what actually happened to her. So just knowing that I don't have to worry about her actually probably overrides a lot of things. Actually, it's great just to know that she's safe and being looked after. Yeah, it's important.
Okay, and the satisfied?
Well, I suppose the satisfied bit is about when I have mentioned things, they're always on the case and always really keen to learn and listen and then do something about it, which has been great.
So that's good. That is good. Okay, are you happy to move on to the final one? Which is about visiting.
Yes.
You're actually visiting your mother-in-law, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, words that you would use to describe what that feels like.
Well, this is quite difficult for me at the moment because she's having paranoid delusions about me and thinks I'm stealing her money. So it's quite difficult. So I think I'd feel anxious. Is that something? Yes. Yeah, anxious. Sometimes I confess to feeling a bit angry about that. I think I'd like to use the word heard again, and is the word supported there?
No, but we can write that one.
Okay. Because there it is over there actually.
Oh, okay. Let's pop it down there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because.
Is that fine?
Yeah, that's okay.
Good. So again, thinking about, you've chosen the words anxious and angry when you visit Margaret. Why do you feel anxious?
Because she can be so verbally abusive to me, and I know that that's probably what I'm going to experience when I go every time, not when others are around, but when we're on our own together in her room or outside. And so there's always that bit about, I wonder what it's going to be like today. And the fact that nobody else is there sometimes, it can be quite difficult.
And I'm picking up because obviously when you're visiting her, you're tending to go to the room because that's the best environment.
Well, it is.
But in fact, you're on your own, and that's when she maybe is like that with you.
Yeah, it's very tricky. And I try and reason with her, and of course explain that I'm not stealing her money, and I'm not, trying to kind of make things difficult for her. But that's not what she's believing at this moment in time, and so, yeah.
And have you been able to speak to Andy about?
I have mentioned it, and the first time I mentioned it, they spoke to the doctor about it, but didn't really do anything. And when I mentioned it again, the next time they actually got the GP to phone me, and so now, the GP was incredibly understanding and really acknowledged how difficult it must be for me to visit, and so she's actually referred Margaret back to the mental health services. So one of the CPNs is going to come and see her again and knows her quite well. So that felt good, just to be able to explain to her how it was for me, and for her to believe me actually, because it's difficult when there's nobody else present. So that felt really important. I did.
Anything else? Is there anything else that would help you to feel less anxious?
Just letting people know how difficult it is for me has been helpful, and I don't know. I don't meet many of the other visitors, so I don't know if anybody else feels like this with their relatives in the care home. But maybe there'd be an opportunity to speak to other people about it and just kind of share it, because it does feel very isolating at times, and it does make me feel like not wanting to visit sometimes.
That's interesting. It might be, I don't know if there are groups within the home that maybe relatives meet up, but it's certainly worth, I think, that might be something that it's nice to share with other people who might have a similar.
Yeah, and now that they know about it, I suppose it would be nice to be asked when I'm leaving, how was it today?
Yes,
just somebody checking.
To acknowledge that it's still there for you, and it's still. So that's definitely something would be worth feeding back, if that would make a bit of a difference.
Yeah,
so,
I think that would actually.
That's helpful. And you've picked angry there as well.
Only because there are many times that I feel angry with Margaret, because of the way she treats me when I'm trying so hard to, look after her and support her. And it's funny because I know she has a cognitive impairment. I know she has dementia, and so I understand that. But sometimes I still feel angry, and I've got to try hard not to show her that.
And again, it's maybe about being able to share how you feel with others.
Absolutely.
And maybe these things you suggested could help that.
Definitely.
So I really hear what you're saying. It sounds very difficult. In relation to you picked heard and supported. So can you tell me a bit about why you feel heard when visiting your mum?
I think basically when I told them how difficult I was finding it, they did do something about it. And although the GP didn't phone me the very first time I mentioned it, and I kind of thought, oh well, just suck it up and get on with it really, when I mentioned it again, they did do something about it, and that's when she phoned, and we had a really nice conversation about just how difficult it is. And I think she'd seen her and asked about some of the delusions that I hear about all the time, and heard more of what Margaret says to me privately. So I think she did really understand, and recognised there was an issue, and has done something about it. So again, that felt good. Yeah, it felt good to be acknowledged and heard. Yeah. Okay. And to a certain extent supported as well? Definitely, that's why I picked that word. I felt I wasn't alone anymore, and that actually they were really trying to help me. And to help Margaret, because it's terrible to see her in such distress when she believes that I'm doing these things. So it sounds, Fiona, visiting can be quite difficult, but that you are beginning to have conversations about how you feel about it as well, and you're getting knowledge, which is good. So again, that's a helpful thing to feed back to staff. So thanks very much for sharing the experience. It's been really it's a pleasure. I've learned a lot about that, so thanks for sharing. I've enjoyed doing it as well. Thank you.